Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to go over my May budget, and we're going to go over the expenses for the month of May, as well as my income, and we'll wrap it up with the change in my net worth. And what I do every month is I track all of my expenses. I put them down here in a Google Docs spreadsheet so I know exactly where my money is going. And you can see I put the date in, the business, the amount, and I also put a category to each line item, so that way I can kind of see if I'm overspending in a particular category and if I need to pull back, or if I'm exceeding my income and if I'm digging myself a hole. So what we'll do is we'll go over the expenses here, and I'm not going to go over every single line here. A lot of them I have repeats, and I have utilities, my gas and water. I help my son out with his expenses at college, and those are just part of his expenses. Things like grocery and gas. I put that under transportation. And then here's my internet bill. I had a bicycle repair, and let's see what else that sticks out here. Trash bill. This is for 3 months. And see here, there's a haircut here, and bought some apple trees. I bought a new house recently. I had one built, a simple 3-bed, 2-bath, and I love to eat apples every day. So maybe in a couple years I'll have some apples. So those are just like saplings that were sent to me, and I planted those. So I'm excited about that. And we can see some more restaurants, things like that. So the total expenses I spent for each month, and it's going to vary for everybody. There isn't like a magic number you need to hit, but you really need to make sure that your expenses do not exceed your income. So we can see I spent a total of $41.31.59. Let's go over to the income side real quick, and I'm tracking everything from interest to dividends here, and I do a lot of stock investing, and that's of course Average Joe Dividends. That's dividend stock investing. So I'm showing those dividends here as income, and this is just a taxable. I'm not showing my 401k IRA income yet because it's not. I can't access it. I'm not 59 and a half years old, so I can't really touch it. So I don't consider it as income as of yet, but I do count it in my net worth, which we'll get to in a little bit. But you can see here things like savings account interest, even checking, a whole 3 cents there. And then I started a new account with M1, and they pay a 5% interest rate. My Synchrony account is 4.75, so I'm going to start moving some of that cash over to M1 to take advantage of that 0.25% more. There's a nice dividend from Verizon, 51.61. See General Mills and their little dividend. And then this is the interest from my main savings account, my emergency fund. If something were to happen, I keep about 1 year's, or actually it's probably closer to 1.5 years of my expenses in cash at Synchrony, and there is the interest from that. And I also do surveys every morning while I just log in and look at news and things like that, or I listen to YouTube videos. I'm doing surveys like from Swagbucks, and I'll leave a link below if you want to sign up. It would help me out too and help the channel out. But there's one of the payments right there, $25. And what I do is I just transfer that right over to PayPal. So it was cash that went right into my account. See some more dividends. And another payoff from Swagbucks doing more surveys. And Costco, you can see I spent some money at Costco, but I get a little bit back in a dividend because I owe some Costco shares. And then American Express, that was dividend. And then here's my first paycheck. This is of course net of taxes as well as 401k, things like that. So that's my net pay there. Realty income, paying a dividend, more dividends there. And then for my bank or for my credit card, I use FNBO, the Evergreen card. It has 2% cash back. So I redeemed $50 there. So I took $50 off of my bill. So I don't know if instead of reducing the expenses, I just added it as income, so it kind of evens out. It just wiped out $50. Here's more dividends. I'm even counting, like, if I find a penny or a dime, that's found money, and I just put that into the self-checkout, and it takes that money off of my bill. Here was another survey, another $25, more dividends, and here's my last paycheck. And then here's a big dividend from BlackRock's BST. It's a closed-end fund that pays me $476.23, and that's a monthly payer. I'm getting paid at least that every month now, and it's going up as I reinvest those dividends. So we can see everything, and this is actually total. I got to change this. It's not just W2 total. This is any income that I have access to. So you can see 6646.97 was the total, so far exceeded my expenses. And here is the gap I had over 2,500, so it was 2515.38 was the gap. And I have an expenses breakdown, and the majority of my money that I'm spending is going to housing, which to me is not a problem at all since I'm buying my house. You can see here's my food expenses, like restaurant and groceries. As far as cutting things out of my expenses, there's always room to cut. Instead of doing the bike repairs, I just went with the shop and thought they'd do a better job. I probably could have done this for at least half the price, so I could have saved a little bit of money by doing my own repair there. And restaurants, things like that, I could have probably eaten out a little bit less as well, possibly use a little bit less expensive pet food, things like that. But it's really not cutting into my goals or my financial goals. So I still had a nice gap there, despite of maybe not trimming every single expense. You can see I'm going out to eat enough and live in a nice house, things like that. So I'm not really deprived of anything. And here's just some highlights of the month. Some of these carry over. Like I mentioned before, I use a cashback credit card, 2%. I don't recommend credit cards if you are one who's going to spend more. If you're very disciplined, the 2% cashback can work for you. I know Dave Ramsey followers, they don't care about cashback and just want to use cash. But if you're disciplined, you can that 2% can actually work for you. And we saw it with the $50 and right here the cash back. And there was no extra spending I did that was because I had a credit card. I would have spent the same regardless if it was cash going out of my hand, because when I do these transactions, I charge things over here. I feel the pain of it being spent as actual dollars. And one of the ways I reduce my expenses is I use Mint Mobile. I'll leave a link below if you want to sign up with them. And it's less than $20 a month. That's with all the fees included. So before I used to use AT&T, it was close to $100 a month every single month. So I went with Mint and never looked back, spending it's about $18. They save $15, but you add in the taxes and then the other fees, it's about $18. So I put less than $20 a month. And then the surveys over at Swagbucks, I got $75 for the month of May. And the dividends, $641 total in dividends. And then we can see here's the savings account interest, $301. And just to let you know, I have a paid off car. I have no student loans or credit card debt. That's not bragging. I'm in that current position. I used to have a car loan. I used to have credit card debt. I had a small amount of student loans, but I worked really hard and was disciplined to pay those off. And right now, the only debt that I have is with my house, right about $180,000. And I've even thought about trying to pay that off early, with some of the extra cash I have. But right now, I'm in no hurry. The interest rate isn't that high. And right now, my mortgage for my house is really about the same as I was paying for a one-bedroom villa apartment. So really, my housing costs are about the same, and I'm building a little bit of equity. Of course, when you first assume a mortgage, your first 5 years, most of your payments go straight to interest. So I'm actually paying a little bit more each month. Right now, my mortgage is $1,278, but I'm paying $1,500, and then in June I'm going to pay $1,600. So I'm going to kind of keep adding to that and kind of boost it up and get this paid off sooner. So to wrap up this video, I'm going to go over my net worth. And I have a brokerage account over at Vanguard, which I have an IRA, a small Roth IRA, and a taxable brokerage account. And the balance of that, rounded to the nearest $100 at the end of May, was $426,300. I have an IRA over at M1 Finance, and the value of it is $631,000 and $631,900, and that was from a prior employer. And here's my current employer. I have a 401k with T. Rowe Price at $84,200. Here's my cash rate, or at the end of May, with Synchrony, $74,800. I have a Capital One savings account as well, which is more short-term savings at $11,500, and my taxable M1 brokerage account, where you're seeing a lot of these dividends flow in. That is from this. That's valued right now at $243,300. And I have a small M1 savings account, $900. And then I'm counting my home equity. That, of course, is counting my mortgage and what I have, as far as equity. And I have equity of $125,000. Essentially, that was my down payment when I had my home built. So, but I'm slowly building a little bit more equity as I'm paying every month into my mortgage. But it's not. Most of it is in interest, so just want to let you know that. So here's the total, just shy of $1.6 million at $1,597,900, and I'm tracking the change from last month. Just in a month, my net worth went up $56,600, and that's just because the stock market recovered a little bit. The month prior, we'll go back to April. And you can see my April video. It was a different story. I actually went backwards $51,700. So there's just recovery from that. So back up from that. And then I'm also measuring from the change from May 2023 and up $291,700. And the reason for that is really just the stock market recovery. I'm going to pull up Google Finance and show you like the S&P 500 over the last year, what the performance is. It's gone up nearly 25%, and just wanted to show you this because that's the main reason why I have made such huge gains in just a year, is because you can see I'm heavily invested with Vanguard and other places in ETFs like an S&P 500 index. So if you're a new investor and you don't know what to invest in, I know everyone wants to invest in the latest and greatest, and something's going to have 10x in 2 weeks. But I'm telling you, I would take a look at investments like an S&P 500 index. Like from Vanguard, they have what is called VOO. So maybe take a look at that. Of course, what I'm saying is not investment advice. You can see it just doesn't go straight up. There is some up and down to it, and this is over the last year. Let's look at the last 5 years. You can see the S&P 500 is up almost 86%. You can see some of the dips. There's COVID, and then a rise back up. We went back down in October 2022, back up, then back down a little bit. You can see we've been on a run lately again. Let's look at the max. You can see just one thing the S&P does over time is it goes up as you go to the right, but there are some bumps in the road. You can see now, here's the COVID, how it dropped down, but look at that sharp rise, and then we went back down and back up. But you can see even when COVID, when everyone thought the world was ending, that bottom was it took it right back to about 2017 prices. It didn't drop to 2010 prices or anything like that. So you can see over time, at least historically, even when bad things happen, it just seems like the S&P just keeps going up and to the right. So that's what I wanted to show you guys was, what I had for expenses for the month of May. Not too bad. Of course, I could have made some cuts in there, save some money, but I don't feel deprived. You can see the gap. There's a nice gap of over $2,500. So that's cash pretty much I can use either for additional savings or investing back into Vanguard M1 accounts, etc. So, and to grow that net worth. So let me know in the comments below how you did with your budget. You don't have to tell me exact numbers, but just let me know, if you were happy with your gap, if you had a gap. And I know in some months it's impossible to have a gap or have a gap every single month. I guess I'm lucky in that aspect. I try to keep things low, and I've had a gap for years. Haven't had a major calamity, so but building that gap, it ensures, and saving it and investing it ensures if you do have a calamity, something bad happening, you're going to have a cushion to deal with it. So thanks everybody for sticking to the end of this video, and please click the like button and also subscribe if you're not subscribed. Everybody take care.